his father and William that they were trapped in the most terrible life. Now he's coming back and pretending that it's fantastic, so pleased to be here. You know, the hypocrisy is extraordinary.
Doesn't understand the seriousness of the damage that he and Meghan, his American wife, have done over the past 5 years.
I can't understand how you can actually not judge a man who was... There's something compelling about hearing all this nonsense. Between, you know, you just want to know, you want to hear about it. You can't believe it. You can't believe what he's saying. You can't believe that the lies he's telling.
One television appearance, one royal biographer, one explosive revelation that sent Prince Harry into an absolute meltdown. Angela Levin didn't just drop explosives on live TV, she detonated Harry's entire world with surgical precision. No hedging, no sugarcoating, just raw truth about Archie and Lilibet's legitimacy that the palace never wanted exposed. Harry's response? Pure rage, legal threats, panic mode. But here's the kicker. Every move he makes only proves Angela's point. Buckle up. This is how a seasoned royal expert destroys a prince with nothing but facts and a grandmother's smile. Angela Levin settles into her television studio chair, and honestly, she looks like someone's sweet grandmother about to share her favorite cookie recipe. Everyone tuning in expects the usual royal commentary, maybe some gentle observations about palace protocol or what Catherine wore to the latest engagement. But something's different this time. There's this quiet confidence in Angela's eyes, the look of someone who spent years collecting puzzle pieces and is finally ready to show the completed picture. She adjusts her papers, looks straight into that camera, and with the calmest voice you've ever heard, she initiates her first attack. There may be serious unresolved questions about Archie and Lilibet's legitimacy.
It's all about him, and he can't actually get out of it. It's you want to sort of smack him and say, now come on, you know, think about somebody else for a change.
The studio goes dead silent, but Angela, she's just getting warmed up. With surgical precision, she starts methodically dismantling every single protocol that Harry and Meghan ignored. Where were the public hospital step photos? She asks, genuinely curious. Every royal mother before Meghan has done this. Kate, Diana, Sarah Ferguson, all of them. But Meghan, nothing. She's absolutely right. Those iconic images aren't just photo opportunities, they're constitutional proof that these children exist and belong to the family. But then Angela goes deeper, referencing information that makes you question everything. She mentions reports from Samantha Markle about disturbing claims regarding Meghan's past. There are allegations, Angela states matter-of-factly, that Trevor Engelson, Meghan's first husband, told people she couldn't give him children.
I do believe because there are no delivery certificates, and I heard stories early on around the time Archie was allegedly in utero and being born. I heard stories that royal staffers were not allowed to see or touch her abdomen.
The implications hit like lightning. If true, this would explain everything. The secrecy, the hidden pregnancies, the refusal to follow protocols. Angela continues that a royal physician wasn't permitted to examine Meghan during pregnancy. Think about that for a moment. If you're carrying a future heir to the throne, wouldn't you want the finest medical care available? Wouldn't you be proud to show that royal bump? She references the photographic evidence that's been hiding in plain sight. Getty Images shows pictures of what appears to be inconsistencies. Moon bumps, pillows dropping from underneath clothing, footage of her bending completely forward at 8 months pregnant in high heels. Obstetricians will tell you that's physically impossible at that stage. Then comes the most brutal observation. When you're pregnant, there's not a pillow under your skirt, and there's live footage of her walking with her abdomen swaying left to right in a black and white dress.
Is this a pregnant belly? Yes, that's supposed to be a real belly. Pregnant belly. Yeah, and I'm 15 years of age, which I'm not.
Muscles keep a baby intact. They don't allow that kind of movement. Angela remains steady as she delivers the final blow. For centuries, royal births have been documented with precision. Official witnesses, signed medical bulletins, transparent timelines. All of it vanished for the first time in royal history. Why?
The fact that it was a mystery and hidden was kind of a red flag to me. I thought, why? Something's wrong here.
According to Angela, if they have nothing to hide, why not simply produce delivery certificates, DNA samples, hospital records? Instead, we get silence and legal threats. We know that Meghan likes to play games with the media, but it's not playing well for her, and in turn, her children are the ones being mostly affected by her antics. Harry and Meghan stay quiet while social media explodes. Somewhere in Montecito, Prince Harry is about to completely lose his mind because Angela just connected dots that no one else dared connect on national television. Within hours of Angela's television appearance, reports start flooding in that Harry has gone completely nuclear behind the scenes. We're not talking about a measured royal response or some carefully crafted palace statement. This was full meltdown mode. Sources close to the Sussex camp started whispering that Harry's legal team was working overtime, drafting multiple cease and desist letters. Not one, multiple, allegedly targeting not just Angela, but several outlets that had covered her comments. The word from inside Montecito? Harry was pacing the mansion halls like a man possessed. But here's the thing that should have been a massive red flag for anyone watching this unfold. Instead of simply providing the evidence that could end all speculation forever, hospital records, birth certificates, medical documentation, Harry chose lawyers. Think about that for a second. If someone accused you of something that you could easily disprove, wouldn't you just show the proof?
He doesn't think about anybody. He's never wrong. Meghan is never wrong.
Yeah.
They're always right in everything they do, but everyone else is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can hold on to that when you're supposed to be a mature person.
That's exactly what the public started thinking. The moment news broke that Harry was threatening legal action, social media lit up with a very different kind of commentary. Instead of sympathy for a father protecting his children, people were asking the obvious question. What was he so desperate to hide? Because here's the brutal truth about legal threats in the age of social media. They don't delete rumors, they supercharge them. Every cease and desist letter becomes evidence of guilt in the court of public opinion. Every lawyer's letter gets interpreted as confirmation that there's something worth covering up.
Nobody can trust him. I mean, you just can't trust him.
And where was Meghan during all this chaos? Absolutely nowhere to be seen. While Harry was allegedly exploding behind closed doors, firing off angry emails to his legal team and demanding crisis meetings at all hours, Meghan stayed strategically silent. She let him take all the heat, absorb all the criticism, and become the face of this particular disaster.
I think he was very, very uncomfortable. I think he felt very strange that he was there by himself.
Reports suggest this wasn't partnership. It was calculated abandonment. Meghan, ever the strategist, seemed to be watching from a distance to see how much damage Harry would sustain before deciding whether to step in and help or to cut her losses entirely.
Usually when she's being very quiet, she suddenly jumps back with something that's quite important to her, to get her own back, because she won't have liked that Harry was having all that television attention.
The paranoia apparently got so intense that Harry started suspecting his own inner circle. Multiple sources claimed he began demanding that his staff hand over their phones for forensic examination. He allegedly accused several close friends of feeding information to Angela and threatened to completely cut off anyone who didn't publicly defend him. But here's the most damaging part of Harry's response. It made Angela look more credible, not less. Every angry reaction from Team Sussex only validated her decision to ask these questions publicly. Every legal threat made her appear like a truth teller being silenced by powerful people with secrets to hide. Angela, meanwhile, handled the backlash with the composure of someone who'd been in this game for decades. Instead of backing down or issuing apologies, she doubled down. She appeared on additional shows, calmly restating her position and suggesting that if Harry truly had nothing to hide, he could easily prove her wrong. The more Harry raged, the more reasonable Angela appeared. And that shift in public perception was probably the moment Harry realized he'd walked straight into a trap of his own making. What happened next was like watching a controlled demolition in real time. Within minutes of Angela's broadcast ending, social media absolutely exploded. Hashtags like Angela exposes Harry shot to the top of trending lists, with people sharing clips and connecting dots that had been sitting in plain sight for years. The British tabloids went full savage mode with headlines screaming, "Royal hypocrisy exposed," and "Levin lowers the boom." Even previously sympathetic outlets shifted their tone. suddenly portraying Harry as someone who completely lost control of his own narrative. American entertainment shows turned brutal too. Morning show hosts were openly mocking him, with one noting that Harry seemed to be suing everyone while looking guilty of everything. But here's where Angela showed exactly why she survived decades in royal journalism. Instead of backing down from the backlash, she doubled down hard. The very next day, while Harry was allegedly having meltdowns behind closed doors, Angela calmly booked herself onto GB News for a follow-up interview, and she came prepared for a takedown. Sitting there with that same infuriating grandmother composure, Angela looked straight into the camera and delivered what might be the most devastating line of this entire saga. She said that if Harry thinks suing everyone will silence the truth, he's completely mistaken. In fact, it only makes people wonder what he's so desperately trying to hide.
But there's something compelling about hearing all this nasty between, you just want to know, you want to hear about it. You can't believe it. You can't believe what he's saying. You can't believe the lies he's telling.
That single sentence reframed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't about poor Harry being victimized by an aggressive media. This was about Harry looking like someone with serious secrets who was frantically trying to bury the truth through legal intimidation. Angela wasn't finished. She made her boldest move yet by appearing on live radio and dropping a gem. She hinted that if the courts ruled against Harry in his secret lawsuit, the fallout could involve revelations about his children's titles and their legal standing within the monarchy.
Harry has briefed to the left-wing Guardian newspaper that he wants to leave that option open for Archie and Lilibet, that one day they could just walk in as like these Californian teenagers at 18 years old and say, give me a job, William. It's not going to happen. Now, no one...
Here's where Angela demonstrated her masterful understanding of royal protocol. She calmly explained that succession rights aren't just ceremonial, they're governed by strict legal requirements about legitimacy documentation. If there were ever questions about how those children came to exist, or if proper protocols weren't followed during their births, it could potentially affect their standing within the monarchy. Angela pointed out that other European monarchies have faced similar challenges when succession documentation was questioned, and in some cases, titles and succession rights were indeed altered or removed. She wasn't making threats. She was simply outlining the legal realities that exist when royal births don't follow established protocols. The headlines that followed were absolutely nuclear. Angela Levin hints children could be affected by Harry's lawsuit. It didn't matter that she was speculating. The damage was done. Royal succession isn't something you casually question without serious consequences. Meanwhile, Angela perfected what can only be described as the most effective legal trap in recent royal history. Every time Harry's team pushed back with vague denials or legal threats, Angela would appear the next morning on another show with that same sweet smile, saying something like, well, if it isn't true, they could simply publish the legal documents to prove me wrong.
He seems to behave like a sort of child that he can only see from his own view. He can't think how his family would feel about anything. And
it was masterful because Harry could never actually do that. Publishing those documents would confirm their existence and potentially reveal exactly what he was trying to hide. So Angela had created this impossible situation where Harry's silence looked like guilt, but responding would only dig him deeper. She wasn't just reporting news anymore. She was destroying Harry's credibility while making herself look more reasonable with every appearance. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn for Harry and Meghan. While Angela was dismantling their credibility on television, reports started emerging that Prince William had been quietly planning something far more devastating, a complete restructuring of royal titles that would effectively cut Archie and Lilibet out of the monarchy forever. Sources close to the palace revealed that William had been having serious conversations about stripping the children of their HRH titles entirely. His reasoning was brutally pragmatic. These are American children, raised in California with virtually no connection to Britain or its traditions. Why should they represent the British royal family from across the Atlantic?
There are increasing reports and indications that going forward, Prince William, as he kind of edges towards being the king, the future, he doesn't want Archie and Lilibet to have their HRH titles.
But William's concerns ran much deeper than geography. Palace insiders whispered that he was genuinely worried about Harry and Meghan's increasingly commercial approach to their royal connections. The breaking point apparently came when Meghan sent a gift basket to entrepreneur Jamie Kern-Lima featuring a card that read, "With the compliments of HRH, the Duchess of Sussex," a direct violation of the Sandringham Agreement that supposedly prohibited them from using their royal titles commercially. William reportedly saw this as proof of his worst fears, that Harry and Meghan would inevitably exploit their children's royal titles for financial gain. The concern wasn't theoretical, it was already happening. Every time Meghan promoted her American Riviera Orchard brand, she was trading on her royal connection. What would happen when Archie and Lilibet came of age with HRH titles that could be monetized?
I do believe that their mere existence on the 5,000-page website gives them credibility they need to continue to march off the monarchy. And
the implications were staggering. These children were currently high in line for the throne, despite being raised completely outside British culture and having zero exposure to royal duties or traditions. William allegedly questioned whether the children being brought up to view the monarchy as jail, Harry's own words, should have any claim to represent that same institution.
He fears that if Archie and Lilibet retain their HRH titles, their parents, their venal parents, will cash in on that. They'll use their kids' titles to make money, just like they already...
Meanwhile, back in Montecito, Meghan was reportedly in full crisis mode. Sources claim she was frantically calling PR consultants and screaming about damage to their brand, because that's what this had become for them. Not a family reputation or royal dignity, but a commercial brand that was rapidly losing value. The pressure was so intense that Harry apparently started demanding his children receive British passports with their HRH titles prominently displayed. When the process took longer than expected, sources close to the couple claimed Harry accused them of deliberately hindering his children because of personal vendettas against him. But perhaps the most telling detail was Harry's justification for wanting his children to keep their titles. He claimed they might want to become working royals someday. The sheer audacity of this reasoning left royal experts speechless. These are American children, raised in California, with parents who've spent years trashing the monarchy. The idea that they would suddenly decide to cross the Atlantic and dedicate their lives to royal service was, in the words of one commentator, not wishful thinking, it's delusion. William's response was characteristically strategic. Unlike his soft-hearted father, King Charles, William had no intention of being manipulated by emotional appeals or guilt trips. Palace sources made it clear that when William eventually becomes king, the title stripping will be swift and final.
About how Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are going to have no role when Prince William becomes king. And he's already planning this out. And it's really not so much that he said they are not going to have roles. He's just not mentioning them at all. He's just a more...
While all this drama was unfolding, Meghan was simultaneously destroying her credibility in an entirely different arena. Her disastrous business venture, American Riviera Orchard, what was supposed to be her triumphant return to commercial success, instead became a public relations nightmare that perfectly illustrated why Angela Levin's questions were resonating with the public. The numbers were absolutely devastating. Financial experts calculated that Harry and Meghan's basic expenses were around $20 million annually. To fund that lifestyle through Meghan's jam-selling venture, she would need to sell 2.5 million jars over the next year just to generate $15 million in revenue. That means releasing one jar every 2 minutes nonstop for an entire year. But the reality was even more embarrassing. Meghan would post videos claiming to be sold out of her products, but the sales figures suggested she was working with incredibly small inventory numbers. When she announced being nearly sold out of flour sprinkles and herbal tea, industry experts noted that you can only sell out quickly if you're barely stocking any products to begin with. The pricey strategy was equally delusional. Meghan was charging $14 for jam, $28 for rosé wine, and $12 for herbal tea bags. But investigative reporting revealed she was simply buying products from suppliers and marking them up by astronomical percentages. The same herbal tea she sold for $12 could be purchased directly from the Illinois supplier for $4.
It's a fantasy. I think she's lost in her own world. She's playing at being some kind of tycoon. You can't become a tycoon selling tea bags for $12 and jam for $14.
Even more damaging were her claims about the products being homegrown and organic. Marketing materials suggested Meghan was personally involved in growing fruit and tending gardens. But supply chain analysis showed she was sourcing from commercial suppliers across America. The wholesome local narrative was complete fiction. The business model made no sense to anyone with basic economic understanding. Why would consumers pay $14 for jam, fill out online forms, wait 3 weeks for delivery, when they could walk into any grocery store and buy comparable products for $3 instantly? As one analyst noted, she wasn't even autographing the packaging or offering any unique value proposition. Perhaps most telling, Meghan claimed to be teaching Archie and Lilibet about work and money by having them run a stall at the local Montecito farmers market. But when reporters investigated, they found no permits, no applications, no certificates for any Sussex family booth at the farmers market. It was another completely fabricated story designed to create a wholesome family image. The American Riviera Orchard debacle perfectly demonstrated why Angela Levin's questioning about authenticity and truth-telling had struck such a nerve. Here was yet another example of Meghan creating elaborate narratives that collapsed under basic scrutiny. So there you have it. Angela Levin didn't just win this fight, she obliterated Harry completely. One television appearance exposed years of lies, triggered a crisis, and left Harry frantically suing everyone while proving her point perfectly. Sometimes the truth really is more devastating than any conspiracy theory.